Hello, this is the Parikrama Series and I am Dr. Renu Malavia. Today we will be discussing about disability, contextualizing disability. The topic for today is impairment, disability, handicap. Understanding the relationship. Now, impairment is the loss or deficit or even a diversity. It is at the body level. Disability is a loss of function. It is at the individual activity level. Handicap is a disadvantage imposed, and the disadvantage is imposed because of societal norms, infrastructures, etc., etc. So it is at the society level. So when we talk about the handicapping situation, if we can minimize the handicap caused by society, then the disability, the loss of function will also diminish. But the impairment will remain. That cannot be removed so easily. Now coming to the official definitions of impairment, disability and handicap. Impairment is the fundamental structural, psychological and physiological deficit. For example, no vision or no hearing or limited concept of directionality. When this definition was done, they did not have the concept of diversity was not included in that. So, but now if you're looking at neurodevelopmental disabilities, then we can also have the concept of diversity there. Disability is a loss of function because of the impairment. So, no vision, unable to see. No hearing, has limitation of understanding other people, communication and so on and so forth. Handicap is the disadvantage imposed upon an individual on account of one's disabilities. So, impairment, no vision, handicap, unable to read. No hearing, handicap, unable to communicate effectively. Now, if we change the way, remove the situations which are causing the handicap, then the disability will decrease. So, let's go again. Organ level is impairment, individual level is disability, society level is handicap. The impairment it has a physical base or a neurodevelopmental base. It limits the functions and causes disability. So, the lack of insufficient social support, troublesome environment. So, what are we saying? That disability and handicap are social constructs. You change the way society functions, the social constructs will also get modified. So in the classroom, how do we take this to the classroom? How do we change the way the social constructs which influence education can be changed? So here are some reflections. As an educationist, you may be a school teacher, a college university teacher, a teacher educator, education institutes administrator, a principal, a director, and so on and so forth, or even a manager of a school. How can you work towards eliciting the best potential of the child with special needs? The other question which I would love if you would want to reflect upon is, how can I, meaning you, attempt to diminish the handicapping situations? Similarly, what changes are possible by bringing about adaptation at the activity level, which is the disability level? So, let's look at some of the sensory disabilities. physical, cerebral palsies and others. These are the different sensory disabilities. I've just taken some examples. There are any other examples that you as professionals must be encountering, or people who are in-service teachers also and pre-service teachers also when they go to for their school experience programs. Impairment, for example, is a loss of foot. Limitations in the muscles of the hands or finger. These are just examples. There can be n number of examples. What is the disability caused because of this? Loss of foot, cannot walk, inability to bear weight on a foot. Limitation of the muscles, inability to write, inability to use a keyboard for music, and so on and so forth. Handicap. What does it cause at the social level? Not able to reach a workplace independently. Social exclusion might happen. Architectural barriers would be there. Using public transport will be an issue if the barrier-free public transports are not present. As of now, they are not universally present. Similarly, this will also lead to a loss of employment. You have the potential, you have the capability, but because there are certain norms which are not ready, the society is already to change, you are not able to do that particular employment effectively. Written communication might be an issue, typing may be an issue, using of certain ICT material may be difficult because the transition, the change is not allowed in society. Similarly, look at the neurodevelopment disability. These are just examples. I'm taking an example from specific learning disability, SLD. The impairment is inability to associate sound and symbol, difficulty with word structures. There can be many other impairment or thing, but I'm just taking these two examples here. The disability is inability or limited ability to read. The handicap is difficulty with learning, failure in traditional examination systems. So you change the process, so you have a scribe and the child tends to do much better. So you've changed the handicapping situation. So now let's see some more examples. If we remove or decrease the impact of disability. Remember, what was disability? Disability is the restriction or lack of ability to perform an activity. Now, if you decrease the impact of disability, the handicap gets limited or disappears. So now let's take some examples here. How can we remove or decrease disability? Use of artificial limb. So the handicapping situation is diminished. Now the person can walk, can play, can run, can climb. Use of wheelchair with barrier-free architect, ramp, lift, space for complete movement of wheelchair, accessible toilets, etc. What will it lead to? Can now reach places where so-called normal, typical people can. Neurodevelopmental disability example, provide a list of suffix and prefixes to the child in the classroom. Now the child is able to express right words which at only he or she was able to have at the receptive level. Now he or she is able to express them also. So the child is able to think and express oneself at the level of what the society wants, and it is able to express oneself at a higher order of expression. Other examples are, now if we look at the inability to associate sounds with symbols, how can we decrease or remove the disability causing aspects? Use of speech to text or sound to text or text to speech also. Use of technology to associate sounds with symbols. So it makes an abstract activity more concrete activity. Divide difficult spellings into smaller parts using learner-centered methods. Teach to use a spell check. In your mobiles, there's a red line that comes in, and it's so much easier. It's nice to know the spellings, be good with your spellings, but if it is spellings and not being able to have the right spellings and so you can't communicate, then it is better that you're able to communicate even if you're not a 100%er where it comes to spellings. So communication in that case is more important. So using a scribe. So how will the handicap situations become lesser? The learner is able to communicate messages, ideas at a higher level. The learner is able to explicitly show one's learning increase in output. Better assessment of the learner's level of understanding and knowledge. This is what is a major problem. Children with special needs, often their potential, their abilities are not effectively assessed by the education system. So they are at a major disadvantage because of that. Able to get and sustain employment at much higher level because their potential is recognized more effectively in that case. While this is one of the last components of today's interactions, this is the entire summary of what we have done. So we've spoken about definitions of impairment, disability and handicap, the level of analysis of the three, the measurability of impairment, disability and handicap, and we have also had a number of examples. I do look forward that you people will be able to think of so many more examples and with the support of those examples bring about changes in the environment of your respective education institutions and elsewhere. So leading towards inclusive situations. Impairments can be at these levels. Disabilities are these types and the handicapping situations are these. So impairment may remain, disability reduced, handicap reduced. So we have some examples here. What are we ultimately saying? Everyone has their own potentials, abilities, can do things, but everyone need not follow the same process. The processes of how you reach the end skill or the output, the expressions can be different for different people. Thank you today and have a wonderful day ahead. Thank you.